Hello, my friends. I am Michelle, a life designer coach, nutritional therapist, leader in Run Fitness, and host of the Inside Out podcast. Bringing wisdom and experiences from inspirational people and from within my own life journey. Supporting you around the globe to elevate your health and well-being and achieve the life you want to achieve. This week, I'm going to talk about whether your relationship with food impacts you and your life. To share knowledge and support available that is focused on elevating your health and well-being. Still today, despite much research that diets don't work, we still live in a culture that is focused on food, including the message that food will resolve all your concerns in one way, shape or form. So even now, with Thanksgiving and festive holidays coming up, adverts, social media all around about what foods to cook and to eat to make sure you have the most wonderful family time, then the opposite you have is so many weeks to go to Christmas, 6 to be precise, and so go, let's lose the pounds just so you can have a good time. Isn't it really confusing? First of all, you've got all this media, all these delicious foods showing, and it's going to make you have such a wonderful experience. And then you get the other side of things and you've got, 6 weeks to go, let's get on it, let's lose the pounds, and then you can have a good time over Christmas. I mean, I don't know about you, but seriously? But when does the focus on food, calories and weight become something else? I think that's the key question. Yeah, we can go through these cycles, okay? You're going to lose weight, go away in the summer, brilliant. And then you're going to lose weight, go away at Christmas or celebrate at Christmas, and brilliant. But sometimes this sort of real social media push pressure really can impact others. Now, for me, having grown up in the diet boom, so this is when diets and Weight Watchers all came into play. And don't forget, I've never seen anything different other than my significant female models in my life stuffing their faces and then declaring the following day they've got to follow a diet. And then conversely, as an abused child, I had no food. So, first part of my growing up, food, stuff your face, then you have to lose weight. Second part of my childhood, before I became a teenager, was I literally had no food. So, it's no wonder I developed a disordered eating mindset. And ultimately, I did it because of the control. I wanted to make me feel that I was good at something and I was successful at something. So I'm going to repeat that again. I developed a disordered eating mindset because ultimately I wanted to control something to make me feel better, to show that I could be successful at something. So it's great because actually if you take it back, food, you can focus on the calories, focus on your weight, and you can focus on the type of food you eat. 3 things that are completely really easy to control. So let's just explore this a bit further, because a lot of people say, well, what do you mean by disordered eating mindset? What is it? So, scientifically, and through the health research and everything else, disordered eating is used to describe a range of irregular eating behaviours that may or may not warrant a diagnosis of specific eating disorder. So let's just focus and summarise. It is to describe a range of irregular eating behaviours. Now, when we talk about behaviours, I'd prefer to think about it more on a relationship front. So disordered eating is very much a relationship with food, exercise and your body. I know that for me, my relationship with food was about control. I was desperately trying to be someone else, to feel worthy, and the only mechanism I had was my body and the ability to be fit and thin, just like the media portrayed, because then I would have my dreams. Of course you would. You still have it today, don't you? The media portraying fit, thin, wonderful makeup, no grey hairs, no wrinkles. You're going to have your dreams. You're going to live a dream life if you look like that. Really? So for me, I was like, I really felt I needed to feel worthy. I needed to be someone that looked great and that everybody was going to love and accept me. But my obsession became in something else. It really did. I was focusing on the food, the calories, the exercise, everything. But then it became something else, and I started to get really anxious in situations where I had no control. So it's great that you start taking care of your health and perhaps nourishing and feeding your body with the right nutrients and the right foods. And it's great because obviously exercise has a huge amount of benefits, lots of benefits: movement, mental health, depression. It's so easy to do and completely free. But I started to get really anxious. Friends would invite us for meals. I didn't know what they were going to cook or how the food was being cooked. And I started convincing myself that just by one event I would become fat and unworthy, and that I was then a complete and utter failure. And I would get really super angry, irate, frustrated before going anywhere where I didn't feel I had the control. I would be so over vocal of the number of allergies I had. And embarrassingly so, I had on a number of occasions, I would even take my own food. Going, I don't want to put you out. Doesn't everybody say that? Don't want to put you out, so I'll tell you what, I'll bring my own gluten-free pasta. Are you doing that? Okay. I'll bring a salad. I'll bring this. I don't want to put you out. And if they're your true friends, okay, it wouldn't be an issue, but you start making it an issue. I started to make an issue because I wanted to get that control. Now, I'm 45, and even now from childhood, I still think eating cake is a bad thing. And sometimes I go out and we're having coffee with friends, we've just done a nice trail run, and I long to take a bite of the cake. I love coffee cake, I love a scone. But I just look, and I still to this day have a mental play, and the feelings of guilt are so strong. And I have to really manage this. So we've looked at disordered eating, right? Which is your relationship with food, exercise, and your body. And it's an obsessional relationship with food, exercise, and your body. And very much for me, and I'm sure it is for many others, about the control. To get acceptance from others, you need to be controlled. So let's look on the flip side of it. What does normal eating look like? Well, it essentially only has 4 components, which means your regular eating, variety, flexibility, and fun. So 4 components, people, to do normal eating. I'll put normal eating in italics, right? Regularity, variety, flexibility, and fun. So regularity means eating frequent snacks and meals throughout the day. So for me, I still have breakfast, lunch and dinner and an afternoon snack. Now, equally, at this moment in time, particularly in my household, there are some people that do not like breakfast, but yet they still eat regularly. It doesn't have to be 3 meals. It could be 2 big ones with snacks. But regular feeding of your body. Now, variety. This is what I love about my household, okay? And variety means involving consuming a large selection of foods from each food groups and includes treat foods for enjoyment. So nothing is off limits. Now, you know me, if you've listened to my previous podcasts, I've been following sort of like the rainbow of the colours, high protein, lots of different things. And yeah, what is the treats? Now, my life, as you all know, is phenomenally busy. So my treat and my enjoyment is, come Friday, glass of wine, sharing wine with my husband and friends. My other sort of like treat foods is having a cappuccino. And, you know, again, you just go, yeah, there's a scone, we're out, you know, meeting friends for coffee. Nothing's off limits. Let's just take a bite. Now, flexibility is quite an interesting one when we look at flexibility. Because what does that actually mean? And it's the ability to adapt to changes in routine settings and the unknown. So it is when your friend phones you and says, I'm at a loose end. You know, do you fancy coming around or going out for dinner? And you haven't planned it in. It's also the flexibility that you can just go off and go to a restaurant or to your friend's house and let them get on with it. And then the final thing about essential normal eating components is the fun. And this is where I think we should perhaps home in on some of the other cultures around the world. Fun means eating for pleasure, celebrating special occasions with eating. Diwali's coming up for us. Thanksgiving's coming up. But eating for pure pleasure. If you look at like the Mediterranean, the European, the Japanese cultures, what they do is that the food is the connection at the end of each day, not just nourishing your body and nourishing your mind, but it's the love and the connection that you're sharing and celebrating your day, you know, your existence, you being alive, you serving your purpose with your family, with your friends, with your community. So let's just recap. We've got disordered eating, which is very much around your relationship with food, exercise and your body, and it becomes quite obsessional. Regular eating is regular meals, a variety of foods, nothing is off limits, you've got flexibility in your routines, and you can just go off and do burger and chips because you're watching a film at the cinema and you're having fun. Food is fun to eat. It's not a chore. So really, how do you know if you have a disordered eating, or conversely, you're listening to this and think a friend or a close loved one may be suffering? What sort of signs and symptoms should we be looking out for? These may include, but don't forget, are not limited to, because everybody is unique, everybody is here for a purpose, okay? So these may include, but not limited to, people that are frequently dieting, the anxiety associated with specific foods, or meal skipping. So let's just give you an example. Frequent dieting, you're continuing on a diet, okay? That is all about control. So you are in a calorie deficit continually. Anxiety associated with specific foods. So give you a pure example, is that I'm gluten-free. I like to have gluten-free. And in the UK, we'll be ensuring that when we go out for dinner, there is a gluten-free option. However, my very first time being in Italy, I was taken out by one of the companies that I was working with for dinner. And they didn't know anything about me. And being the Italians, they served up pasta. I was seriously anxious. But you can't not say you're not going to eat it when it was home cooked, love of food. And actually, what I found really interesting was I didn't have an adverse reaction for food that was cooked in Italy from fresh. Okay, yeah, I do have a reaction in the UK. But there are some foods that I just know and I get very anxious about having burger and chips, or chips mainly. Chips seem to come with everything when you go out for dinner in the UK, and I can't. So that's some of the signs, and that's just one element of disordered eating. Other signs include chronic weight fluctuations, so you go up and down in your weight, or very rigid rituals and routines surrounding food and exercise. And this including over-exercising to burn extra calories. You've also got symptoms of feeling guilt and shame associated with eating, and from the inability to maintain food and exercise habits. So a lot of people that are trying to do the exercising and the routine habits and control of the food, they get some shame if they're unable to maintain that routine. Some people will have preoccupation with food, weight and body image that really negatively impacts their quality of life. A feeling of loss of control around food, including compulsive eating, using exercise, food restriction, fasting or purging to make up for bad foods consumed. People have a distorted body image or body shape and weight in the primary measure of self-worth. And some people eating for comfort and not hunger. Quite a list, isn't it? Quite a list of symptoms that could impact various individuals. So I'll be honest with you, most of what I've just covered applied to me at one time. Now, I have done a lot of work on self-love, self-confidence and acceptance. And my journey for self-love, self-confidence, acceptance is continuing daily. That really, I only fall back to disordered eating mindset when I feel overwhelmed and not aligned to my highest energy. I can even share with you trigger points and scenarios that would have just set me off. And I have to admit, Christmas is one of them. There are 2 days of the year that I don't really like and I feel very, very pressured, which is Christmas and my birthday. I tend to find that very much for Christmas, it's all about the food. You've got to have cheese and biscuits, you've got to have this and that. There is so much of it that I feel pressured that we've got to eat it all. Where actually, in reality, you don't. You can eat and do whatever you want on Christmas Day. It's your Christmas. Stay off. So, it's not rocket science, but here's the science of what the impact of having some of these symptoms have when you're experiencing disordered eating on your body. And please remember that disordered eating actually currently is not diagnosable. So just to summarise again, we have got lots of different rituals, control, restriction, perhaps lack of self-love, hating your body image as part of symptoms for disordered eating. So skipping meals, not eating the right foods, what does this actually affect you? Okay, as your body. Disordered eating generally affects the adequate nutrient absorption, thus the brain does not get the nutrients it needs to function properly. So that was a bit of a tongue tie really, trying to get the science out. So essentially, if your brain does not get the adequate amount of nutrition absorption, it will impact how it needs to function properly. And from a neuro perspective, it can lead to damage which could impact emotional centers of the brain, leading to depression, anxiety, and social isolation. If you're not getting and absorbing the nutrients, you may find that your hair, skin, and nails become brittle and frail. Again, through lack of absorption of the right nutrients, your bone density is impacting, affecting balance and higher risk of fractures. Now, relating it to my age category and the whole menopausal side of things, balance and loss of bone density due to the lack of hormones is something that we all need to consider. And therefore, if you've then put on top of that the malabsorption of nutrients, then you're really high risk category. And obviously, general functions like your cardiovascular system, your gastrointestinal system will all be negatively impacted if they're not being fed the right nutrients it needs to work properly. So what help is actually available to us? I think that's key. So let's just summarise. Disordered eating is about your relationship with food, diet and exercise, and your own body image. Normal eating, fun, flexibility, variety, not skipping meals and regularity. Some of the symptoms, if you're trying to recognise whether or not yourself or a friend or a loved one has it, is frequent dieting, anxiety, weight fluctuations, so obsessional with food, loss of control feelings, compulsive eating habits. What does that all have? Is a negative effect on your body and your mind. So, though this is not a diagnosable condition, do we call it a condition? Let's run with the condition at the moment. What help is available? So when we've been doing research, and obviously I've been doing some research, the overall ethos is to focus on behavioural changes. So there are some specialist support available, and this includes cognitive behavioural therapy and acceptance commitment therapy, both of which help individuals understand how their thoughts about food, eating, weight and shape are impacting their behaviours. And the work will be centred around reframing thoughts into positive ones. Now, I'm based in the UK, and since the pandemic, accessing health services, mental or any other, is extremely difficult. So let's reframe this. Yes, there's some specialist support available, but if you don't have access to these, and relating to my own journey, what other strategies could you do to support? And don't forget, I've described to you about disordered eating and the signs and the symptoms for you to become aware for yourself, but maybe also to be aware of people that are close to you and within your community. But the one thing that you've got to make sure is that actually it's the individual that needs to recognise they need the help and support. Because it's the individual's journey and the individual's want to be in a different state that is going to help them take action. So, what other strategies from my journey can I offer to you to say, try these and see if it works for you? The first one, recognising and labelling thoughts. First thing I do is I go, I can't eat cake, it's going to make me fat. That's a disordered eating thought. So what do I do now? I thank it for arising, because actually what it's trying to do is protect me. But I have to strongly remind myself that I'm in a safe environment. My body is safe, the people I'm with, I'm safe, I am grounded, and actually I have the power to decide whether or not I want to eat cake or not. And this goes back to some of my other episodes, that actually if you're fully in tune and grounded in the present moment and with your body is an amazing machine. It will tell you what it wants to eat and what it doesn't. And it's only now through my journey that I go, wow, our bodies are such amazing scientific dream to be with. It tells you what it needs. It tells you, if you listen to it, it tells you the decisions, what you should be making, what it shouldn't be making. So actually, when you have a negative thought, you can't eat something. What it's trying to do is, like, this ego of yours is trying to protect you, but you've got to remind yourself, you have the power. You're empowered to decide whether or not it's right or wrong for you. So challenge those thoughts. My strong notion is not to eat cake because I will put on weight. But challenge that. What is the evidence for this? Clearly, if you have cake every day or McDonald's every day for every mealtime, every snack, then there is a potential that you're going to put on weight. But equally, as I've just said, our bodies are amazing machines, and eventually you will just crave a salad. The amount of my friends that have been to the States and they have eaten lots and lots of food, and then they've just come back, even to holidays actually, where we've indulged on a holiday, lots of lovely food, to then actually go, God, I really just crave a salad. So the third point is actually trust your body and its intuition. And if you're going, Michelle, how the heck do I start doing that? Practice the daily breath work. There are a number of apps available that can help you, guide you through your breath work. So practice daily the breath work, grounding yourself and clearing the mind. And I think this is key. I tend to do breathing in for 4, out for 4, in for 4, out for 4. It really clears your mind. Allow the thoughts to come in, but allow them to go. Think of them flowing down a river. So practice daily breath work, ground yourself and clear the mind. By doing this, it will allow you to truly listen to your body and tune into its needs. The mantra that my good friend Vicky taught me was, remember, food is fuel. And she taught me that when I was training for my ultra. Food is fuel, and fuel is required for your body to function. So learn to feel how your body feels. Learn to tune in and ask yourself, what do you truly fancy eating? And then flip it also over to noticing how your body feels. Does your body feel tired? Are you just grabbing for that sugary snack because you want more energy? Does your body feel tired because you are a person that is extremely active and on the go? Or equally, does your body and mind feel tired because you are a working parent and you are shoving children all over the place, or your job is in very high intense corporate and that you're continually in stress situations? So how does your body feel? And reassure yourself that rest is just important for your body to recover and to be able to balance. And you don't have to always go out and do a full exercise session if you are focusing on diet and exercise, just so that you can eat. Look at alternatives that are available. Like, you could just go for a walk. one of the brilliant things that you can do anywhere is actually walk barefoot on some grass, because you're connecting with nature. I also found that keeping a diary and a journal and starting to recognise when situations make me feel out of control and unworthy, to see if there was a pattern. So I know that when my week has been challenging through whatever reason, that I tend to feel that I'm unworthy and I haven't achieved much, and sometimes, depending on what it's related to, I feel not accepted, or I feel that I failed, that I haven't done something right. And actually what I then think is that I need a dopamine hit. I think diet and control will give me that. And start listening to how you talk to yourself and using positive words, so you deflect from the negative. At the moment, my journey is having lots of challenges thrown at me, but what I am trying to focus on is to say to myself that this is temporary, and reframe it and go, what is the situation trying to teach me? And this is in all walks of my life at this moment in time. What is the situation that is trying to teach me? So let's just recap. The help that's available can be specialist support like cognitive behavioural therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy. But equally, there are strategies that you could use yourself. Recognising and labelling disordered eating thoughts, challenging thoughts to say, well, what is the evidence for that? Is that really true? Learning to trust your body and intuition through grounding, daily breath work. Recognising situations that might make you feel out of control and unworthy. And trying to be kind to yourself through kind words, acceptance, self-love, self-worth, and just really knowing that you're doing okay. And I'm not going to lie to you, none of the above that I have tried, I found it easy to do. Everyone has good days and bad days. And equally now, looking at my journey and where we're at, there is such more holistic support that's available to us all, such as coaching, hypnosis, or even a nutritional therapist. And the one thing I like about coaching, and this was a comment that was made to me, is sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees. But by talking to a coach, helps put your thoughts into perspective and actually make it clearer to where you want to be. The key message here, though, is each one of us are phenomenal beings and are worthy of being here and serving our true purpose. So whatever we do, we must remember to be kind to ourselves, kind to each other. Disordered eating is not an easy journey, and the road to recovery is undulating, yet I believe that true self-love, self-belief, self-worth and finding the right support will enable you to achieve an elevation in health, mind, body and soul. So my friends, that is it for this week's episode from Inside Out. I hope you enjoyed our discussion on disordered eating. If you liked the episode, be sure to subscribe to the show and follow us on social media. And as always, thank you for listening, and remember, elevate your health, elevate your well-being to achieve the life you want to achieve.